As part of its commitment to supporting the reconstruction, rehabilitation and rebuilding efforts in Borno State, the Aliko Dangote Foundation launched a 200 housing unit village in Maiduguri for widows and orphans affected by insurgency. Valued at 2 billion naira, the village has the provision of a healthcare center and a school equipped by Borno State government. Speaking in an interview, the Commissioner for Rehabilitation, Reconstruction and Resettlement, Borno State, Professor Umara Babagana, commended the Aliko Dangote Foundation for the immense support to the state.
The importance of the Dangote's contribution to our rebuilding crusade need not to be overemphasized. When the chairman, Aliko Dangote Foundation, announced the donation of 2 billion naira to the government of Borno State governor instructed the ministry to submit our request for building materials worth 50% of the donation he made. He refused to collect cash. And because this 1 billion naira building material has gone a long way, it's not a contractual sum. With Zoira and Musa Bala, we procured building materials directly, not at a contract, at a market price worth 1 billion naira. I can remember we bought up to about 4,000 doors and windows, about 270 trucks of cement, iron rods, and then roofing sheets up to about 250 million naira. And then we decided to construct 1,000 homes to IDPs. That was our initial idea in Maiduguri. But when we realized that keeping people in Maiduguri will not augur well, there's need for us to resettle people back to their hometowns. So we decided to now construct 200 housing estates in Maiduguri. That has been the genesis of the Dangote housing estate. While the building material meant for the construction of the remaining 800 houses were shifted to the local government areas. So if you go to Bama, you can see many doors written Dangote, Goza, Askirauba, Ngala. The building material touch nothing fewer than 14 local government areas. And what matters is not the quantum of money, but the procurement process has been done in a very meticulous manner. And the building materials were stringently and meticulously utilized. And this had made a very positive impact on the livelihood of the citizenry. Many were under the sun, but they are now under the roof.
At the launch of the houses, the African business icon and philanthropist Alhaji Aliko Dangote shared that over 7 billion naira has been spent in the Northeast reconstruction, with Borno State as a major beneficiary.
Your Excellency, you may kindly recall that exactly 2 years ago, when I first paid a visit to the IDP camp within Maiduguri, I made a pledge of 2 billion naira on behalf of the Aliko Dangote Foundation. I support your government's reconstruction efforts for key infrastructures that were destroyed and vandalized during the course of the insurgency. You also recall, Your Excellency, that it was the decision of the Borno State government that when you are ready to receive the pledge, that our donation be given to you in kind, not in cash. This is the first donation ever that we made and people don't request cash. Your Excellency, you are a great leader. Anyway, while we pledge, we made a donation. Before we get back to our office, people request for the cash. But you requested that you don't want to see any one of our, you don't want to see our naira, you want to see it in materials, which is very, very rare. It is against this backdrop, and with consultations between the Dangote Foundation and the state government, that we provided building materials, which included cement, aluminium, and galvanized roofing sheets, iron rods, ceiling boards, as well as fabricated doors and windows worth 1 billion naira to undertake the construction of what we are commissioning here today. The 200 units Dangote housing asset, which is aimed at providing housing to some of the internally displaced people in the state. Each house is a self-contained villa able to house a family, and the state government has made provision for each family to be given tools to sustain their livelihood. But honestly, tell you the truth, it's not about what we donated. When you look at what is being built, this thing can pass for more than 3 billion. In addition to the houses, the state government has built a fully functional school to educate the children, which I think is one of the key aspects that we need to look into. It's not only about housing them. Education in the northern part of Nigeria is key to our livelihood. We cannot survive without education. Your Excellency is aware that since 2012, the Aliko Dangote Foundation has consistently supported the state governments in providing support to IDPs in the Northeast in the provision of food, clothing, and other relief materials to alleviate the sufferings they were in due to the unfortunate situation they found themselves. So far, our foundation has actually spent about 7 billion naira in the Northeast in the efforts to assist. And also, I want to confirm to you here today that we will continue to do more until the internally displaced people are reintegrated back into society and are able to resume their normal productive lives.
The chief host and governor of Borno State, Alhaji Kashim Shettima, in his address, lauded Alhaji Aliko Dangote and his foundation for being the single largest donor to the relief efforts in Borno State.
Alhaji Aliko Dangote gave the highest individual and even private sector intervention in support to mitigating Borno's humanitarian crisis. In line with the principal objective of touching the lives of those in absolute need, we have ensured that the 200 resettlement houses in this modern village are allocated to persons who are direct victims of the Boko Haram insurgency. And we have also taken note of the nationalism of the person, of his passion for the Nigeria project. He is a completely detribalized Nigerian, an inter-ethnic and inter-faith bridge builder. The Borno State government shares this very critical attribute of justice and fairness, and beneficiaries of these houses cut across religious and ethnic divides. We have taken and will continue to take measures to ensure that by the grace of God, residents of this village, like other citizens, live happily and safely.
Highlight of the event was the presentation of the certificate of ownerships of the houses to the beneficiaries, alongside the commissioning of the village and tour of the facilities.
And privileged to present to you our widows, whom we painstakingly selected based on vulnerability ranking, vulnerability on all index, poverty, and also lack of protection and others. Some of them, most of them, their husbands were killed either through gunshot or they are killed as a result of the insurgency.
Governor Kashim Shettima speaks on the Dangote village, the security around it, and the allocation to deserving recipients.
The Aliko Dangote Foundation has been consistent and responsive to the yearnings and aspirations of the people of the state. For the past 7 years, they have been consistently assisting us in attending to our humanitarian needs. But he has been consistently supporting us in all indices, in all variables. It was the support from the Aliko Dangote Foundation that enabled us to get the initial push in the reconstruction of Burma. And for us to leave landmarks in the sands of time and for posterity to acknowledge the generosity of the Aliko Dangote Foundation, I said, let's build an estate, a village with hospital, with schools, with their places of worship, targeted at the victims of Boko Haram. It might interest you to know that all the beneficiaries of those housing units that were built in conformity with our cultural pattern are largely women victims of Boko Haram. Civilian JTF who were killed, who paid the supreme sacrifice for us to have peace, their families, people from the countryside. And knowing the generosity of spirit, the inclusivity of Alhaji Aliko Dangote, I insisted on an affirmative action. I said there has to be among the beneficiaries our Christian brothers and sisters. It was a deliberate policy. So that Nigeria is a mosaic. It's a kaleidoscope of colors, and these colors has to be reflected in the Dangote village. And tomorrow, we will see that all tendencies within our nascent nation will be reflected among the beneficiaries of the Dangote village. We call it village because it's almost a self-sustaining community with their own school, with their own clinic, with their own mosque, and most importantly, give a man a fish, you have paid him for a day. Teach him how to fish, you have paid him for life. We made efforts to empower the widows so that they can effectively take care of their kids and their basic needs.
For Alhaji Aliko Dangote, he remains resolute in mobilizing resources to support Borno State and other states in the Northeast region with special focus on education.
Despite that, we've already given about 7 billion naira to Northeast since the beginning of the insurgency. We will continue to do our utmost best to continue to give them. Even today, I was really very impressed in the morning when we went there to commission the 200 houses, and that's why we said, okay, fine. The recipients will also receive 100,000 naira each for them to continue with their livelihood, so that they will be able to fend for themselves. Going forward, I think we need to mobilize a lot of resources to assist the state government, especially in the area of education. You must have visited one of the schools. I mean, the state of the art of school anywhere, even in Lagos or Abuja, the quality was very, very high. And they cannot, and I repeat, the government on its own will not be able to do all this by themselves. So we, not only we, Aliko Dangote Foundation, we have to ask other good-hearted people, not only Nigerians, to assist in making sure that we invest in education, because without investing in education, there's no way they will be able to get out of this mess. So I think, and it is good for us, because when you look at it, by 2050, Nigeria will be almost about 450, 470 million in terms of population, and which 70% of the population will be here in the north. So if there's no education, we will all be in crisis. In fact, we will have bigger issues than even Boko Haram.
The Dangote housing village for the 200 widows and orphans affected by insurgency in Borno State is a laudable effort. This will also be replicated in Bama and Gwoza local governments in the state. This can be described as one of the single largest relief interventions by any individual in Africa. Alhaji Aliko Dangote has indeed raised the bar in purposeful philanthropy that other business leaders in the continent can emulate.